Joining me now on the phone is another presidential candidate in this race, and that is Marco Rubio of Florida, now who is also looking to pick up some delegates here in the state of Illinois on Tuesday. And this is why they're having rallies here, is because Illinois is one of the states that will vote on Super Tuesday. Senator Rubio, thank you for joining us by phone. Your thoughts on what we're seeing in Chicago tonight?
Well, it's a very disturbing night for a lot of reasons. First, let me just take a moment and thank the police department in Chicago. Tonight's a reminder that our men and women who serve us in the police departments and law enforcement are always in the front lines of dealing with all these problems. Second, let me say that it is clear, look, this is Chicago. Protesters are an industry. It is clear just from watching some of these images that this was an organized effort, an orchestrated effort on the part of groups that wanted to disrupt an event, and then Chicago is kind of a hub for that kind of activity. There's no doubt about it. I would also say that, you know, people have a right, whether you disagree with what they're about to say, and I most certainly disagree with many of the things Donald Trump says in his forum running against him for president, but you don't have a right to take away the First Amendment right of people to speak freely. I think you've seen some of this on college campuses recently. There was an article not long ago. I think Ben Shapiro tried to speak on a campus. They basically shut him down. So I think this is kind of crossing over into the broader society, and it's problematic. I will say no one is blameless here. Perhaps I wouldn't say Mr. Trump's responsible for the events of tonight, but he most certainly, in other events, has in the past used some pretty rough language and encouraging the crowd to, you know, saying things like, in the good old days, we used to beat these people up, or I'll pay your legal bills if you rough them up. So I think he bears some responsibility for the general tone of the things that are happening. But as far as what's happening tonight, I mean, clearly this is an orchestrated effort by people that some of them are probably being paid to do this. And I think it's just sad all the way around to see these images where, you know, it clearly there's some level of ethnic and racial divide in how this is playing out on television. I just think it reflects very poorly on our country. I think it's sad all the way around tonight. I really do. I'm very sad for our country. When
you make a reference to Mr. Trump's language, you know, a lot of people think it's funny. They think that's kind of funny, the stuff he says, like, punch him in the face. You know, like, these people are irritating. They're trying to disrupt the rallies. He's had enough. People show up now to his rallies with signs that they've already written out that read, "Get him out," because that's what Trump always says, "Get him out." And then sometimes he adds some more colorful language.
Yeah, see, the thing is, though, when you want to be president, look, one of the appeals of Donald Trump, I believe, is that he says what a lot of people wish they could say, but it's not politically correct to say, or it's not polite to say. And he says it. He says it on a big platform, and people love it. It's cathartic. The problem is that when you're going to be president of the United States, or when you're running for president, or where you are president, you can't just say whatever you want. These words have real consequences. Donald Trump has a big platform right now. He's the front runner in the Republican Party. Everybody's paying attention to what he's saying. And these words have consequences when you're president, even more so. Again, I want to be clear. I am not telling you that what happened there tonight is something I blame him for, because I will tell you that those people that are there are professional protesters in an array of different interest groups. I guarantee you some of these people are being paid to do this, and you can see it just in the interviews afterwards as well. But I am saying he does bear responsibility for some of the other things that have happened at his events, including people being punched in the face, allegedly a reporter also being roughed up the other day. I think there's blame to go around here, and I think it reflects we are entering a kind of a very disturbing moment in our political discourse in this country that is reaching a boiling point that I believe has very significant repercussions, not just for this election, but for the future of this country. I mean, we are being ripped apart at the seams as a nation and as a people right now. And I think the president bears some blame for that as well in terms of some of the rhetoric he used. You see some of it reflected on college campuses as well.
How do you think this portends for the 2016 race, both the primaries on Tuesday and in the Republican race, and then the general election in November?
I don't know. I haven't given it thought. And to me, quite frankly, that's secondary. I think the bigger issue is what's happening in America right now. There's real significant anger and frustration at the direction of our country. People feel every major institution has let them down. The media, academia, organized religion, the political parties, the political process. People are hurting, and they're upset, and they're angry. And I think it's the job of leaders not to stoke that anger, but to use that anger and channel it in a way that allows us to reach solutions, as opposed to stoke that anger in a way that drives us to a political victory on a given election year. You know, the president flirted with this himself. I mean, President Obama has spent the last 8 years dividing Americans along haves and have-nots, along ethnic lines, racial lines, gender lines, in order to win elections. I think this has gone to the next level here, and we're seeing the consequences of it. And that, in combination with the fact that I think there's a need to remind people that the First Amendment allows people to disagree with issues and say things that you don't agree with, which obviously this is being lost here. And then this sort of sense now on the left that if you don't like what someone's saying, you have the right to just shut them down, as you see happen on many college campuses across America, and you saw tonight there in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to hear more from Trump, who has defended some of his protesters, some of his fans, at times violent behavior by saying they're very angry. They're very angry. And it is clear that some of the people protesting this rally tonight and what Trump has said and what he stands for, they are very angry too. And there's a question about how they should be responded to. Senator Rubio, so glad you could join us. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.